Alright, so here is the video solution to Unit 1 Learning Target 2, the in-class example experiment. Okay, so again, just to refresh you, we're looking at a guy who's trying to determine whether or not there's a relationship between the amount of time compost, or if compost at all, makes a difference in the height that bean seeds will grow to. Okay, so again, you read this already, you know basically the data. Okay, here's the data table and the data that he collected. Now, going to what I want you guys to take a look at are a couple things here. Okay, first, the problem. Okay, problem and observation and question, these essentially in and of themselves are the same thing. Okay, but the question that we're answering and the problem that we're looking at is, does compost affect the growth of beans? Also within that, okay, does age, AGE, excuse me, of compost matter? Okay, now the answer to that is within the experiment, but before we even get there, we got to have a hypothesis. And the hypothesis is, yes, compost age does matter. Okay, he said the older or the larger the age, the taller the plant. Now again, you guys, I want you to explain this a little better than that, but I'm paraphrasing here. Okay, so what he did was he had three groups. Okay, one with 3 month, one with 6 month, and one with no compost. Okay, now the one with 3 month, one with 6 month, one with no compost, he compared their heights, he measured, okay, at 12 days. Okay, now we skipped these parts for the time being. Okay, what I want to go ahead and then do is actually take a look at our data. Okay, our data and our observations. Now, our X value, again, like we looked at online, should be our independent variable, which is the compost. And we had 0 compost, we had 3 months compost, and we had 6 month. Okay, now we also had Y value. We thought our dependent variable here is going to be height, and I'm going to say that's in centimeters. Okay, the compost age is in month. Okay, now I'm going to go back, take a look at the data table that we have here. Okay, this data table, there's a whole bunch of points. Now, you guys are probably thinking, well, that's a whole heck of a lot of points to graph for 3 month, 6 month, and no compost. Realistically, the smart way to do this would be find averages. Okay, so if you would have averaged these together, you would have found 8.45 centimeters. The 6 month, you would have found 11.59 centimeters, and no compost, you would have found an average of 8.43 centimeters. So we would go ahead and graph that then, using our averages, because averages essentially encompass all of that data, but they do it in a real simple manner. So like we looked at before, the no compost was 8.43. Well, I need to set my scale, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say every 2 of these represents 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 5 centimeters. This is 10 centimeters. And here's 15. Okay, so 0 months we said was 8.43. So I'm going to go ahead and find 5, 6, 7, 8.43 will be something like right in between here. And so that's going to be my 0 month compost line. Okay, now my 3 month we said was 11. My 3 month was 8.45. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find that 8.45 to be something like right around here, slightly higher than my 8.43, but not enough, not much. These are very similar in height. So There's my 8.43 line. 3.45, excuse me. And then my 6 month we found to be 11.59, so that's going to be almost up to 12. So here it is, that's 12, and I'm going to go down a little bit to 6.59. Again, these are approximations. This isn't totally accurate. When we want to be completely accurate, we use computers. But there it is. We can draw a meaningful conclusion from that. Okay? Conclusion has to answer our initial question, which is... Phone's ringing. I'm going to answer that. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. Anyways, back to science. That was a phone call I needed to take care of. So we're looking at height versus compost age, okay? And again, now we see kind of there's no real difference between 0 compost and 3 month, but 6 month there's a significant difference, about 2 inches, okay? So we can use this data and this information within our conclusion to solve for this, okay? The conclusion is, you know, something like, well, 0 month and 3 month doesn't really matter, or no compost and 3 month, there's no real difference. But if you're going to use compost, 6 month compost would be the best. For the height, increase. That's an arrow up. Okay? Now, like I said before, you guys, after some of your work, should be able to identify these. This is Unit 1, Learning Target 3. Okay. You guys should be able to answer these after that. Now, I'm going to tell you to hit pause if you haven't answered these yet, because I'm going to put the solutions up in a sec. So go ahead, hit pause. Don't be a cheater. Answer these questions if you can, and then I'll unpause it with the solutions there. So go ahead and hit pause. And here are the rest of the solutions, okay? So independent variable is type of compost. Dependent variable was the growth that they saw because of the type of compost. The controls and control group, for our purposes, we're going to call the same thing. That was the group with no compost. Now again, this last thing too, we didn't really talk about, and you guys don't really need to know, but the experimental groups would be the different groups that we had, or the different trials that we had. And so those groups would have been all 3, but the control group is the one with no compost. There it is. That is the rest of this worksheet. Make sure you have that ready to go, because again, you guys are going to have an assessment that has something similar to it. Other than that, email me with any questions. Have a good study day.